Hey everybody, welcome back to the farm. This is Josh at Rocky Top Regenerative Farm. I'm out here with our turkeys. So we've got about 10 turkeys and 2 geese, you can see behind me, that are about ready for processing. Before we get to the big day, we've got a few odds and ends that we've got to tie up. So I thought I would show you guys what it takes to get to the processing day. We can talk a little bit about how we raise them, why we raise them this way, and let you see what all is involved. I don't know if you can see behind me, they're over the hill now. There was a herd of deer just hanging out up here next to the turkeys. I'll see if I can get a little bit of a video to show you that too. So let's go see how it goes. What you got, mister? Let's see it. This guy's showing off for his ladies in here. Oh, now we got our competition. Big stuff, huh? These guys are just loud. Guess that's it. Mama. Hey girl. What you doing? Huh? Hey. Here I have my 2 cones that I'm going to use to dispatch the turkeys. So what this does is it holds the birds still while we do the actual dispatch. This is what I previously used for chickens, which are obviously much smaller than turkeys. You can see the size comparison here and the caliber of the opening. So I had to zip tie this extra bucket on the top. It's not going to win any awards for beauty, but it's function over form here. So I think these will work. We'll show you how they work functionally when we do the processing next week. So now we've got these done. Next, I need to make a stand that's going to hold the birds while they're drying before we put them in the shrink bags. I've gone ahead and cut this PVC pipe. It's a 3/4 inch. It was a 10-foot long pipe into some sections. And now I'm just going to form it into a drying rack, like I said, where we can have the birds drying until we put them in a shrink bag. Well, as you can see, it's a little asymmetric. I had cut these PVC pieces with a different plan in mind, but then I felt like it would be nicer to have a little bit more height. These uprights are about 10 to 12 inches because the turkeys are just much bigger birds than chickens are. So I wanted to be able to use it for both. So I used more height than I had initially meant to, which meant I had to cut the legs on the side shorter. So again, it's one of these things that it looks goofy, but it'll work. So this is where we'll put the birds on top of to air dry, and then we'll come and put the shrink bag over top. Again, next week we'll show you how it works. So now I've got my cones made. I've got my stand mostly made. It's not glued, so I can change it if I need to. Now I'm going to go move the birds, and I'll talk about how we raise them, why we think it's a good way to raise them, and I'll just kind of show you what it looks like up there. Back where the turkeys are. This is where we started this morning. They're eating a little bit of scraps. That way the geese are quiet so I can talk for a minute. I'm going to use this spool to reel up the fence and move them just a little bit to this end. You can't see it because the edge of the screen, but I will reel it up and then I'll show you how we get them moved. It might be loud here for a second while we feed everybody. What's up, everybody? Come on, let me dump it. It's hard to do one-handed. There we go, look at that. Delicious. All right, thanks, man. Good job, buddy.
Pointing it where you are going.
Yeah, thank you. As you can tell, it's the next day. We moved the turkeys yesterday and we were losing sunlight. My little farmhand was getting about ready for bed, so had to wrap it up. But now I'm back today and I'm going to show you where they are, talk a little bit about how we raise them and why we do it this way. So here's everybody over here hanging out in their fence, and I'll talk just briefly about what they're in here. So this white fence, I'm not going to touch it or I get zapped. It's a polyethylene, I'm not sure exactly what it's made out of, net, but then it's got these metal wires that are wrapped around different strands, and so that carries a charge. You can see this white line that I've got it hooked up to, and that thing runs all the way down the hill back to the barn where I've got it connected to an energizer. And what that does is it takes the AC coming from the power lines, and it turns it into just a very brief, it's like 1/10 of a second charge. And so it supplies it to this fence, so if anything touches the fence that's touching the ground, it gets shocked. So if any coyotes or raccoons or whatever comes out here, stray dogs, trying to get these guys, they're going to get shocked, and it keeps them safe. To some degree, it keeps these birds inside the fence. A lot of times the turkeys seem to like to get out anyway. They like to be up in the trees. So pretty much every morning I come out and they're out. Fortunately, they don't get eaten. So that's what this fence is for. We have water, we have food. I don't give them a roof or anything because I did at first, but they would never go in it. They would just sit on top of it and poop all over it. So finally I quit dragging the roof around and I put them under a tree, and they seemed just as happy. So that's kind of their setup. And then as we can walk over here, you can see, actually they don't have a lot of grass. They have mostly poison ivy in here where they don't mind. They're gonna scratch around in there and eat all the bugs and find out whatever they can get. And turkeys will actually eat a decent amount of grass and vegetation, more so than chickens will. So raising them out here helps us with the amount of feed that we need to feed them also. We don't have to feed them quite so much because they're going to get bugs, they're going to get grass, they're going to get things that are going to supplement their diet, so we don't have to pay as much in the feed bill to get the meat that we would otherwise get. And also you can see it's wide open, it's peaceful, it's calm. You know what I don't see? You don't see any street lights, anything like that. So at night it's dark. I don't know if you guys have looked into anything about light pollution, blue light messing with circadian rhythms, things like that. So these guys, they're in a very natural environment. Abundant sunshine. Sunshine is a natural sanitizer. So they're pooping all over the ground. It helps to kind of to sanitize some of those pathogens that could get them sick. The sunlight also has all kinds of beneficial effects. I'm still learning about all these myself, right? You have all kinds of light receptors in your eyes and your skin that are melatonin receptors that the sunlight modulates, and that works in many different ways on hormonal pathways, all to promote overall health. So they're getting all kinds of sunlight, they're getting all kinds of fresh air. These fields, we don't spray any kind of fertilizer, any kind of pesticides, any kind of herbicides out there, so they're not ingesting any of that. So it's a clean environment out here. And let's walk this way a little bit and I'll show you where they were. You can have an appreciation for why I moved them yesterday. So I generally move them about once a week, and sometimes it's shorter, sometimes it's longer. It depends on how the grass is looking, how many birds are in the fence, how big of a fence I gave them. With the meat chickens, I generally have to move them a little sooner. Chickens are just much rougher on the ground. They scratch a lot and they'll tear it up. So I was a little lazy last night and I left this fence still standing. So this is where they were, and they were here for about a week. You can see all kinds of feathers. This shows you where they spent most of their time, in the shade under the tree. And really, they didn't destroy the ground. They didn't tear it up too much. But what you can't see is they're probably, there is poop kind of covering this. So we let them stay in this area for about a week, and then we move them so they're not just sitting in all that manure, because that's not healthy for them. It wouldn't be healthy for us. So constant movement leads to good health, So anyway, this is where they were. That's where they are now. And then we'll come over here. I've just been moving them down this tree line sequentially for the past month or two. I can't remember how long it's been that they've been up here. But so this is where they were before, and look, it's really recovered pretty well. There's not any bare spots, well, not any more than anywhere else. You can't really tell they had a whole lot of an impact there. So I've just been moving them down this tree line, on that way. And while we're out here, if you were out here with me, maybe you can get a sense from this video too. Like I said, this is a really natural environment, right? This is where animals are supposed to live. I'm not sure if you've ever seen a confinement poultry house, but they're the huge, long shoebox looking rectangles. With chickens, they'll hold 20,000 chickens in one house. And we just feel a lot better about raising our animals this way than raising them in a confinement house. Our birds get to be active, they get to scratch, they get to get bugs, they get to be out in the sunshine. Not to mention, I said movement leads to health. Those birds in the confinement houses never really get to move. So if you're not moving, I suppose movement, sunshine, fresh air, those are natural sanitizers. If you're not using those, you've got to use something else. And when it comes to confinement farming, factory farming, that generally comes in the form of chemicals. And so any kind of chemical that you use, the person that eats the animal ends up eating the chemicals. So these guys are much more chemical free than what you would find in a factory farmed animal. So all these reasons, many more. We'll talk about some of the other reasons moving forward. I haven't even touched on the fact that they are improving the land too. You can see there's a lot of bare spots in our pasture. It's not great grass, but these guys are helping with that. So we'll kind of explain some of that as we move on too. But I hope you enjoyed this. Hope it kind of helped you understand a little bit more about maybe why you should look for pastured poultry rather than just regular Walmart chicken or turkey. And we'll see you next week when we do the processing. Thanks for watching.